It's time for celebrities to shut up. That's what Gene Simmons of the Kiss Band says is up for all of Tinseltown. Today we'll tell you whether or not we agree, smile, or frown when it comes to what he has to say. Should they be silent? Should they be quiet? We've got answers for the celebs right now. It's a beautiful day. It's a fantastic day, folks, and thank you for coming our way yet again. We're your friends who give you the explanation for entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. We do it with a zeal that even the Holly Weirds can feel. As we do so, click that like button, and off we go. Gene Simmons is the man behind the makeup for the rock band Kiss. And I know some of you miss your Kiss songs, right? Dr. Love? Let's see here. Right Angle News Network is talking about this when it says, Kiss co-founder Gene Simmons says it's time for celebrities like Ben Stiller and Mark the Hulk Ruffalo to shut the blank up. People work hard for a living. That's a different song. People work hard for a living, and they don't want to be lectured by people who live in mansions and drive Rolls Royces. It's time to shut up. Now, what is Gene Simmons talking about? Well, if we go over here to Ben Stiller, I can't believe he left Threads. I can't believe that he got off of Blue Sky to come on over to X and try this one out. But he said, hey, White House, please remove the Tropic Thunder clip. We never gave you permission and have no interest in being a part of your propaganda machine. War is not a movie. Now, as you all know, there is a fair use policy on YouTube and everywhere else that you can use very brief clips and you can do this kind of stuff. And Ben Stiller has to know that there's no way he can convince the White House to take this thing down. They've done nothing wrong. And by the way, in honor of what he had to say, I just have this.
Bingo.
Our apologies to Mr. Stiller. But that's not where it stopped, because if you go to Steve Downes, the voice of Master Chief from Halo, this is how crazy things have gotten. The man who's most famous for saying, I need a weapon. He says this. He says, it has come to my attention that there is at least one propaganda video from the White House circulating that was either produced or at the very least endorsed by the White House that uses images of Master Chief, who... Folks, I'm going to tell you, I don't think Steve Downes owns. I'm pretty sure that Microsoft owns Master Chief. And it uses my voice to support the war in Iran. Okay, well, I'm willing to bet that Master Chief's voice has been used to do a lot of things, including selling cereal and a bunch of other stuff. Let me make this crystal clear, says Steve Downes. And we'll click it to make it bigger for you. Let me make this crystal clear. I did not participate in, nor was I consulted, nor do I endorse the use of my voice in this video or the message it conveys. I demand that the producers of this disgusting and juvenile war remove my voice immediately.
Look who commented over there on the right.
Pro says this with 450 something likes, doesn't matter. Disappointed in you, Steve. You've fallen far from your disc jockey days. I think he was a disc jockey over in Chicago and might still do some of that. What part of an evil Iranian regime losing power is unsettling to the point you speak out about a 3-second video game clip? And that's where we'll take a trip over to Congman Lee to find out what you have to say about this, because I think all of this is frivolous and silly, and I think Gene Simmons is exactly right. You know, this stuff is not worth them stepping out into the culture and political war yet again, especially as their industry is dying. Yet they do it again and again, sir. So what say you? Should celebrities shut up about politics, or should they keep on with the right they have?
I actually think this may be an unpopular view, but I think it's actually okay for celebrities to express political opinions. It should be the right political opinions. so if it's political opinions that promotes patriotism and nationalism, a love for your country, this understanding of noblesse oblige, right? Because every society has an aristocratic class, you have an elite class, and so it is incumbent upon them to do good to the average layman, to the average person, and to be humble, but to express certain political opinions, for example, because this is, whether people like to admit it or not, a political opinion. When you say you love America, you're saying that you love America. If you say that you love America more than other countries, that is still a political opinion. And then, so I do think that it's fine for them to have political opinions. It's just, it should be the right ones. And also it should be coming from a place of humility and not, talking down to their audience, not being condescending, not being sanctimonious and beating their chest about how half the country is evil. But it's, to promote a more unifying pro-America patriotic message. I do want to see more of that. That's why people love people like Chris Pratt, who, yes, he doesn't talk about politics all the time, but he does express his love for Jesus Christ. He expresses his love for God. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Chris Pratt said, "Rest in peace." And those are still, by and large, political statements because he took a side and he was offering condolences and he's proclaiming the name of Christ. But he does so with humility. He does so being honorable and noble. And so that's why people love Chris Pratt. And that's why the wokies hate him. So I do think that these people have played their hand. And it's not that they're too left-wing, but they're so left-wing and they're insufferable about it. They're so insufferable about it. And but to the point where they tell over half the country that they're evil, that they're racist, that they're misogynistic, that they're whatever phobic that they come up with just for simply believing in regular, normal American Western values.
Yeah. Derek, one of the problems is that Hollywood has essentially positioned itself as the truth-speaking beacon that's fighting against the orange Adolf. And that's not the reality we live in, but it's the reality they want people to believe they live in. But that's so abrasive and so awful, and it drives away 70% at least of those who would listen to them, and that's killing their industry. So from a philosophical stance and from, do they have the right to get out there and use their free speech? Sure they do. But that doesn't mean that it's wise for them as an industry or wise for them in their careers or wise for them economically. And frankly, Derek, the only thing that I believe that they believe in is money. And they love their yachts a lot. And this is destroying their yachts. So I'm kind of surprised they're still doing it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what's Jordan's famous phrase? Conservatives buy tennis shoes too. You got to make sure that you keep it right down the middle. Don't try to play one side or another. I agree with Kang Min. Like, you can make your opinions. It's when you start attacking people. All right. Yeah. When you start attacking the other side, which is what Hollywood seems to do a lot of. We want to attack others instead of just making a, political statement. This is what I believe in. And just leaving it at that. They want to go on the offensive, and that's where they run into trouble. That's
where they become offensive, and people stop listening.
Yeah,
you can say what you want to say, but say it with a little style, a little grace, a little decorum, a little manners.
You're actors. Act for goodness sake. Act like you are, neutral, but you're just trying to give your opinion or whatever the case may be. I don't think people have a problem with that. It's only in this current era. Like, Hollywood has always kind of given their political opinions out there. We've seen this, throughout the years. But it's only in this particular era where they are attacking one side of the country and saying that if you don't think like I think, then you're some sort of a phobist, you're a bigot, you're something like that. And that's where they go off the rails. Because now,
by the way, in classic Hollywood, people of absolutely opposite politics were still friends. John Wayne and Kirk Douglas, for example.
Sure. Yeah.
So many people who were of totally the opposite view politically, but they found a way to put that outside of their work together and not only become friends, but become collaborators in some of the greatest art that's ever been done. These people, if you call somebody enough names, it's saying, I don't want to be in the same room, the same soundstage, the same planet with you. That is not designed to make friends and influence people. So,
The other thing too is,
I was just going to say, we've lost the art of conversation where we can all just have a conversation. We're going to disagree on a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, we're not going to be insulting. We're not going to attack each other. We'll just give our opinions and say, hey, this is what I think. Oh, okay, this is what I think. And we can have a good conversation about it. And we can leave the conversation completely disagreeing with the other person's viewpoint and still be respectful. And that's what Hollywood doesn't seem to have the ability to do. A lot of people in society don't have the ability just to have a cordial, polite conversation where we disagree.
There's a way to do this if you're Ben Stiller. And I don't know that you want to do this, but there's a way to do this where you maintain some level of neutrality. So let's just identify, where Ben Stiller is attempting either knowingly or unconsciously to be abrasive. Ben Stiller, all he has to do is come out and say, for clarification, folks, we didn't have anything to do with this. I don't have anything to say more than that. Just letting you know, to be clear, we didn't work with the White House on this. And you can do that and whatever, right? That would still probably be not well received, but it wouldn't be as bad as this. Because what he does is he says, we never gave you permission and have no interest in being part of your propaganda machine. War is not a movie. Yeah. Please remove the Tropic Thunder clip. We know that they're not going to do that. And, I don't think anybody believes that War is a movie. So it's looking down upon everything. And it has that air of total arrogance. So Wizard, I don't know why Hollywood wants to keep stepping into major controversies, especially when, if you put out Tropic Thunder 2 right now, you would have millions and millions and millions of dollars and fans and all of that. And they destroy every opportunity they have to make a comeback.
If to echo a lot of the points here, if you look at Hollywood right now and you look at the movies that they're putting out and you look at all the empty theaters every single day, any day of the week, there's empty showtimes where there's entire theaters completely empty. No one is going to see these movies, okay? Unless you're Super Mario Galaxy, which they expect you to see 4 times, okay? If you're Hollywood, and you're in accounting, marketing, right? If you're in some form of this business, isn't somebody going to ask the question, maybe we're wrong? Are we going about this the wrong way? Is there a possibility that maybe we're doing something wrong? And this is why I have such problems with the leadership, right? We have the Ellisons taking over Hollywood. Well, I see nothing different coming from the Ellisons. They have a history of being in Hollywood. I don't think this is going to change because no one is able to ask that question. What are we doing wrong? Have we lost the plot here? And it's the idea, and I know Derek was just saying it. Here's my idea. We can't have a conversation. Here's my idea. What's your idea? Can we meet in the middle? Is there a possibility that we see eye to eye on even one thing? If we can agree on one thing, then we can continue having a conversation. Is there a possibility of that? But instead it's no, here's my idea. Your idea is stupid.
Which persuades nobody.
It persuades nobody. It antagonizes everybody. Of course you do.
Lord, go ahead. Be your little antagonistic self. I knew you couldn't stand this much longer.
No, I actually agree completely. I just had to be contrarian.
And he's done.
I think that's the overall issue here, and it's not just Hollywood, and it's in a lot of places now. It's across the board. It's in all of entertainment, but it's also in a lot of other corporations as well. It's a big industrial problem that people are unable to think, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I need to hear someone else's point and I can learn from it. But that would require a little bit of self-reflection, and they don't have that anymore.
Right, and they're not allowed to be criticized or critiqued or corrected because of toxic positivity, right? The idea that, oh, well, I'm on top, so you can't tell me that I'm wrong. I am beyond reproach, and so everybody who disagrees with me is in the awful category, and that's just the way it's going to be forever. Well, that's not a great way to run an industry, and unless you want to run it into the ground, and they've done that pretty darn well, I would say. Guys, any more thoughts on celebrities and what they've done?
I just looked up the Stiller's soda that he's plugging. 12-pack of root beer, $30. He's sure a man of the people, isn't he?
Oh, man of the people. He's here to help you with your root beer needs, okay? I will say this. There is one person out there who has really made a turnaround, and we need to celebrate because, we did a segment the other day. Rachel Zegler just doubled down on destroying her career. But Brie Larson, here's a celebrity who she was so acerbic, so you couldn't stand her 2 or 3 years ago. And she has turned it around, and she's pleasant, and she's nice. We don't have to see eye to eye. We don't have to agree. She's just figured out how to be human again and treat others with kindness. And
let us not forget an Academy Award winner from back when people thought that mattered.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So there's a redemption path, and Hollywood should take the Brie Larson way. Maybe, until she says something stupid and I change my mind. Yeah, that happens every once in a while.
Trust but verify, Pro. Trust but verify.
It is such fun getting to spend time together, folks, but we have come to the end of yet another video. well, that makes the mainstream scratch their heads, pull their hair out, and wonder how is it we continue to do what we do. But you know what we do this for? It's for you. To keep bringing all the knowledge of entertainment, explaining what's going on in Hollyweird each and every day. And you can help us continue on that way by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It's the notification bell. Share this out on your favorite social media platforms, and we would love to have you drop a comment right on down below. Share your thoughts because, well, your thoughts truly do matter, and we mean it. As we get ready to say goodbye, we end with the common refrain. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.